Very good evening and welcome to Expiry Day Setup. This is Milan Vaishnav, and I wish you all indeed a very good evening. We have had the markets closing on a good note today, and that being said, we also had some good kind of development on the derivatives and the overall technical front as well. We are having a shortened week this time. Tomorrow is not only just a weekly options expiry, but we also have the last trading day of the week. We have an long weekend this time, Friday being a trading holiday on account of Independence Day. So I would also take this opportunity to wish all of you a very happy Independence Day. And that being said, the week is also expected to be a bit of an eventful one. The eyes would be on the couple of things. We have had this tariff related issue between between US and the China getting a postponement of another 90 days. And above all, we have the world will have its eyes on the meeting that takes place on Friday, I think, between President Trump and Russia's Putin. And eyes are there on the meeting because of high expectation of the most anticipated outcome, that is truce between Russia and Ukraine. There are also chances that uh, if the war stops, or if they are able to cease and desist at least for some foreseeable future, then indirectly it might also turn out to be of some benefit to India as well, because then equation with uh, India and Russia may not change, but the way US looks at it would uh, would change, or rather US would be forced to take such sensible stance on India's trade with Russia. So many things going on. Perhaps the markets have sensed something, and they have managed to keep their heads above crucial support levels. So that being said, I'll walk you through some of the important index setups as well as sectoral setups, and we'll take a look at the options data as well. And we can expect what the week holds in store for us. Not just that, but what the expiry holds in store for us, at least for tomorrow. We have had uh, a good trading week as of now, I will call it. Last week, the markets ended their 6 week losing streaks, the longest in last 5 years. But on the same breath, the FII data and EII data also continue to maintain their pattern. So first, I'll walk you through the Nifty, and then I will walk you through the rest of the data and some important charts that I should now that we should now be looking at. All right. So the important thing that has happened with Nifty is that during this week, we had had some important, or rather significant, violations of crucial support levels. Now, if I walk you back to the middle of May, we started to create this range of 24,500 and 25,150 on the higher side. So Nifty created this 650 points range, and it started to trade in that. It did achieve a breakout sometime in June, only to get inside that range again in July. So if we discount this failed breakout, then beginning the month of May, mid of May, beginning mid of May, until recently, that is for almost 3 months, Nifty traded in this 650 points range. That range was made up of 24,500 as a crucial support on the lower side, and 25,100, 150 on the higher side. Now, what happened on uh, on last Friday, that is on the first day of this expiry week, is that we ended up violating that range, that trading range, by slipping below 24,500 levels. That was a major breach. I'll call it from a short-term technical standpoint. But on the subsequent days, we have managed to ultimately move about 24,500 and get back inside that trading range. So as of now, we see that two levels stand protected. Now, why 24,500 is important? Because of two reasons: that it has been the lower edge support. It's been the lower boundary of the trading range that the Nifty has created, that is between 24,500 and 25,150 that I've been mentioning often about. It is the lower edge of the trading range, so therefore it's a pattern support. And it's also a 100-day moving average, which is placed at 24,548. So as of now, on closing basis, that 100 DMA also stands protected after a brief violation. So right now, if I say this from a technical standpoint, what I see is that Nifty has a important support on closing basis between 24,500 and 24,550, because it is made up of these two confluence of these two support levels. And therefore, we can say that the longer we stay above 24,500, higher would be the chances that we will go back inside the trading range. But if 24,500 gets violated on closing basis once again, then we would be in for some intermediate trouble. We would see the Nifty getting weaker. Now, when I say Nifty getting weaker, the another level that is extremely important from a medium-term standpoint is the 50-week moving average, which is placed at 24,190. So this makes a huge range of 24,200 to 500, that is 300-point range, a major crucial support zone for the Nifty if it has to avoid itself from slipping into intermediate downtrend. So right now, we can fairly conclude that the primary trend remains intact. Nifty stays above its short-term supports. I mean, it is comfortably above those support levels, and we should rather not get predictive, but stay reactive in nature, and we should negatively react only if we see Nifty slipping below 24,500 and closing below 24,500. So as long as we are above that level, we are safe in a way, and that is what it matters. In a worst case scenario, even the 50-week moving average of 24,200 continues to remain a major support on a medium term basis. So right now, bottom line is that the that the main primary trend, I'll call it, that stays absolutely intact, and there has been no technical violation, or there was no structural violation on the charts as of now. Let's take a look at the options data, what transpired today. This is the intraday activity that we see here. Now, at the end of the day, today, we have seen some good, meaningful unwinding of calls at 24,600, 550, 500 levels. And we have seen some good incremental writing of puts happening at these strikes. So from layman's perspective, I can say that we can translate this into the fact that now the traders expect that Nifty is more likely to say expire or close above 24,500 levels on expiry, और ये जानते हुए कि ये इसकी चांसेस ज्यादा है 24,500 के ऊपर सेटल होने की, तो इसमें जो ये रीजन हो सकता है कि हमने एक सिग्निफिकेंट कॉल राइटिंग हम देख रहे हैं ये तीनों स्ट्राइक्स में 24,500, 550 एंड 600. ओवरऑल ओपन इंटरेस्ट डेटा भी यही बताता है। अगर आप इसमें मैं चेंज भी प्लॉट करता हूँ, इवन इफ आई चेंज, द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट event is seen on 24,600. We see that, let's focus on writing of puts. The green line, it's a put OI. Put OI um, is now at 1.6 crore shares, 1.68 crore shares. But more important is that out of 1.68 crore, 1.25 crores, so almost 70-80% of the put writing has got done today. So today has been a very decisive move on 24,600 strikes, where three times more, four times more calls have been, four times more puts have been added at the strike, and or on the other hand, we have seen unwinding of calls at 24,600. So same goes for 24,500 also. So this makes, and 24,400, which is the third highest put OI. And why 24,400 to 600 is a major support zone? Because below 24,400, or let's say even 450, or let's say even 500, below 24,500, there is very negligible presence of call OI. And this is one of the reasons that we could see the markets finding support at lower level. Now, that is point one. Now, overall, let me move to the uh, FII data. Now, for the whole of July, we have seen FIIs staying net sellers. For July, we have seen a net outflow from FIIs to the tune of 47-48,000 crores. I'm not saying the exact figure, but I'm giving you an indicative figure that all close to 48,000, roughly 48,000 crore has been a net outgo by FIIs. That being said, we are almost halfway through the month of August, and the net FII outgo stands at around 18,000 or 19,000 odd crores. So we are more or less at the same pace as far as FII outgo is concerned. But that, despite that thing, what we see here that FIIs continues to remain net short, and their net short is at one of the highest levels that has been seen over the past many months. So that makes it pretty clear that any downside is something that people won't still be comfortable with, and we could find some short covering led bounces from lower levels. Even if we do not have any buying led support or buying led up move, short covering is something that will likely to keep coming in as long as we broadly maintain the levels of 24,200 to 500 लेवल। तो कहने का मतलब ये है मेरा कि जब तक 24,200 से 500 का जो जोन है 300 पॉइंट का, वो जब तक वायोलेट हम नहीं कर रहे हैं, नीचे की साइड क्लोज नहीं कर रहे हैं, तब तक नीचे के स्तर से, नीचे के लेवल से इसमें मैसिव शॉर्ट कवरिंग आती रहेगी। दैट इज वन पॉइंट। दूसरी बात यह है कि जब तक जहां तक कल की एक्सपायरी का सवाल है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि 24,500, 450 500 के नीचे निफ्टी बंद होगा। देर आर कोई चांसेस मेरे हिसाब से नहीं है, ज्यादा चांसेस इसके हैं कि निफ्टी सपोर्ट ले और 24,500 के ऊपर एक्सपायरी आए, हम 100 डीएमए को डिफेंड करें, जो कि 24,540 समथिंग पे है। तो इसकी गुंजाइश मुझे ज्यादा लगती है गोइंग बाय द ऑप्शंस डेटा। नाउ व्हेन आई से गोइंग बाय द ऑप्शंस डेटा, देयर आर टू थिंग्स दैट आई लाइक टू टेल यू अबाउट इज दैट ऑप्शंस डेटा are reflecting the same levels that we saw, that we first initially found on the um, chart। तो जो चार्ट पे जो लेवल दिखी, उसी लेवल को ये ऑप्शंस डेटा कोरोबोरेट कर रहा है। सो दैट इज अ गुड पॉइंट। बट वन थिंग आई वुड लाइक टू हाईलाइट, जैसा समथिंग दैट आई डू एवरी टाइम, इज दैट ऑप्शंस डेटा, दे डू नॉट लैग, दे डू नॉट लीड। ये ना ही लीडिंग इंडिकेटर है, ना ही लैगिंग इंडिकेटर है, एंड इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ a coincidental indicator। It just shows you uh, what the state of affairs are at this point in time. It's kind of a situational awareness, and you should bear in mind that it is subject to change. So far, so good. What I expect out of Nifty is that it will protect the support zone of 24,500 in a most likely scenario tomorrow. On the upside, we could find resistances coming in at around 24, 700, 800 levels and higher. We may not see a major trending move unless there is hugely unless there's something very big overnight positive to deal with. But in the same breath, on the negative side, I expect that 24,500 will continue to stay defended. So that's how the Nifty is tagged up on expiry. Let's talk about Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty has been a relative underperformer over the past many days, and it is likely to stay that way. But one thing is that on day-to-day basis, or rather on weekly basis, we see that Nifty Bank will continue to relatively outperform the Nifty as long as it is above 53,500. A Nifty Bank right now is at 55,181. On day-to-day basis, we might see a Bank Nifty relatively underperforming. It has been relatively underperforming over the past couple of days, but on week-on-week basis, it is far better placed than Nifty. And as long as it is above 53,500 in an overall term, in an overall week-on-week basis, on overall medium term, we would see Nifty Bank outperforming the Nifty over the coming days. एक्सपायरी की हम देखते हैं वीकली एक्सपायरी सॉरी मंथली एक्सपायरी उसमें भी आएगी कल सो उसमें तो सॉरी मंथली एक्सपायरी होती है आई एम एक्सट्रीमली सॉरी बट इवन ऑन दैट वी सी दैट मैक्सिमम call OI continues to stay at 56,000, whereas maximum put OI is at 55,000, something that this chart is showing here at best. So right now, expect Nifty Bank to underperform on day-to-day basis, but if we look on month-on-month basis, Nifty Bank will continue to stay in a place where it is relatively, outperform the Nifty. But talking only of from an expiry standpoint, where we have something that we have for Nifty, I expect 24,400 to 500, that 100-point zone will continue to stay defended, and in all likelihood 24,500 also will stay defended in all probability, something what this options data reflect. So this is how expiry is tagged up for tomorrow. Now there are certain important sectoral developments that I'm seeing on the charts, and one of them is the Nifty Auto Index. We have an attempt of a breakout from Nifty Auto. I am seeing this weekly chart where Nifty Auto has bounced off its 50-week moving average, and the lead indicator has also shown a bullish divergence where it has made a new high, whereas the Nifty Auto Index has not made a new high, and this bullish divergence can lead to a significant relative outperformance in the auto space. If we look at it from the daily perspective, even then, the same thing is there that this has stayed in a trading range for quite some time now. 1 minute, let me fix this up. This has stayed in a trading range for quite some time. And while the auto index was in a trading range, we have seen a golden cross taking place. We have also seen the 100 DMA crossing above the 200 DMA. So now we see that even the lead indicator has shown a breakout much ahead of the actual price breakout, which is also good. And therefore, I fairly expect that over the coming days, up to the next expiry that falls on 23rd of August, if I'm not wrong, we would have by then auto space doing quite well in the markets. We will have, sorry, the next one would be on 21st of August. Sorry for the wrong mention of the date. And so in short, Nifty Auto is something which is attempting a breakout once again. Secondly, another thing that I've observed is the financial services space. Along with the Bank Nifty, Nifty Financial Services Index is also inside the weakening quadrant of the RRG. But in the same breath, it is showing a very nice improvement in its relative momentum against the broader market. So right now, on daily basis, we may see that it's struggling, or rather it's finding support at the 100 DMA. And but if you look on week basis, it remains in a very structural, and it keeps its primary uptrend intact. So financial services space um, is likely to find some good traction. And along with that, we also have Nifty PSU space likely to do good as compared to the Nifty Bank Index, which is slightly under pressure given the weak performance from HDFC and ICICI Bank. But by and large, I also expect that from the banking space, I see that the stock-specific PSU banks index may perform better than Nifty Bank. And we can fairly see that if PSU Bank Index goes above 7,300, we will see some good moves taking space. Now, auto space, or let's say PSU space, or let's say a couple of very select financial services name, why are they showing good traction? The reason is that their relative strength against the broader Nifty 500 index is largely improving. And therefore it's going to be a mixed pack. Let's say, for example, from the auto space, we have seen very resilient and outperforming performance from stocks like, excuse me. Further, I'm having very welcome back. I'm so sorry for that. I'm having a very bad throat today since morning. So that being said, the main reason for selected outperformance is that stocks like, let's say, M&M, TVS Motors, Eicher Motors are all doing good even in times of bad market performance because of their increasing relative strength. But within the auto space, we are also seeing some good traction on the stocks that were relatively underperforming the markets. Just to name a few, I won't be um, um, naming the stocks, but anything in particular. But we will have stocks like, Tata Motors or Maruti or something that were consolidating, might see their consolidation getting over, and might also contribute to the strengthening of the auto space. Even in PSU banks, we have certain select PSU banks which constitute the bulk of the index. They are showing some good momentum in the space. Then comes another thing that we need to keep in mind on is Nifty IT index. Last week also I pointed out, today as well, on the long term charts, it is sitting at a major support. 34,000 on Nifty IT index is a major support for the index. And if it's able to protect that level, we will also see that see that index coming back inside the game. So that is something we need to keep an eye on. These are a couple of stocks and sectors we need to keep an eye on for the next week. And so far as Nifty is concerned, I fairly expect the crucial support zone that we discussed, that is 24,500, continuing to stay protected unless we have something nasty overnight stuff to deal with. But I see it as less likely. In fact, I sense that the markets are sensing something what we as a retail participants may not be able to sense. They are eyeing some positive output from President Trump's and Putin's meeting, which could indirectly favor the Indian stand. But by and large, I don't expect anything nasty coming up over the long weekend that we have. So with that, I will leave you with this setup. I hope the levels that we discuss are of some use to you. I'm trying to give you some directional bias on the markets as well. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them into the chat box or reach out to Upstox. Your questions would reach me. Thank you very much for connecting with me on the show. I hope to see you again next week. Thank you very much and have a wonderful weekend ahead, and wish you all again a happy Independence Day. Thank you very much.